I was born in Dearborn, Michigan in 1995.
I am Rami Ahmed, and I am 19 years old.
My name is Hasanain Joseph. I'm 30 years old. I was born in October 1985, right here in Toledo, Ohio.
I practice my culture every day by speaking in Arabic with my family, my parents, and we go to a lot of like traditional engagement parties, weddings. We eat a lot of traditional foods. And in terms of religion, we go to the mosque, and we're a Muslim, so we pray 5 times a day. I sometimes don't pray all 5 times.
I pray 5 times a day. I fast. I have not gone to Hajj.
I practice culture and religion by oftentimes going to our places of worship or going to cultural events.
I think it takes a very brave person to put it on. And I think that it really shows a woman's modesty and that she's comfortable with her own personality. And I don't think that it's a form of oppression in any way.
I actually think the hijab's a beautiful thing. I don't feel like it's obligated. I feel like if a woman feels like she needs to cover up to make her closer to God, that's more power to her. But I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's a beautiful thing.
How I feel about the hijab. My sisters grew up and my mother grew up wearing it, so it was always part of my life. It really did not affect my mentality in one way or another towards it. It was always a part of me. I have respect for it. I believe it shows modesty, and I think for some women that wear it confidently, or men, the modesty that is, it should empower them and make them stronger individuals, and I see it in my sisters.
We pretty much do everything like just like any other American would. My brothers play on sports teams, and we do soccer and all that stuff. We all go to school. We all have friends of different cultures and different religions.
My father was actually the president of the youth group when he was 19 years old, and he actually led the national. There's like a national parade, and he actually led the whole thing, which was kind of cool for me to read. It was in the newspaper.
The role my family plays in modern day society, I say it's a very important role. I came from a big family, and even though my parents did not go or have any type or form of education, they raised educated children. So our role, I think most part, was education. We continued that, and they instilled that into us about being educated, and with that education we were able to affect the people around us.
As an Arab American, when I was younger, I found it difficult to show my Arab culture, but now I like really embrace it, especially here at UT. I feel like there's so many Arabs that I can get to know that are really similar to me, and I think it's really unique to have a different culture to introduce people to and just to have your own sense of identity.
No, I actually do not find it as difficult to show my Arab culture. I'm very proud of it. I don't go around saying, like Allahu Akbar everywhere I go, but like I'm very proud of it. I think it's a cool culture. I think we're different from everybody else, which is awesome.
Don't find it in any way hard to show my culture. I am aware of the stereotypes out there, but I think it's an important role for us Arab Americans, especially, to break the stereotypes. Can show my culture or show my identity, and yet behave in the ways I usually behave in, which is, the American way in general, and it hasn't affected me in one way or another.
I I do feel sometimes uncomfortable here in America with the current events around the world because I don't wear a hijab. I don't feel it as much, but I still do just because of all my family and just because I feel like Arabs in general are now being victimized these days for reasons that are just like not they don't entirely make sense to me, because it seems like everybody just generalizes us, when in the history we've had this happen so many times, and it seems like nobody ever really moves on. Like, we just keep repeating history, whether it's back when the Japanese were the targets here, or now when African Americans and Arabs are now the targets. So I sometimes feel uncomfortable, but I never don't want to be Arab.
As much as it's weird, because in like on TV they always show like we're the most like violent people. It's weird because most of the people, if you ever go to these countries, they're like the most just peaceful human beings you'll ever meet. So accommodating. Everywhere time you go, they're willing to give you their house and everything, because you don't want to see your fellow, I guess you can say, your friends do that kind of stuff. It's just it's wrong. Um, so yeah, I would say I do definitely feel uncomfortable with the current events that occur around the world.
I do not feel uncomfortable with the events that go on around the world as a Muslim or as an Arab American. I think for the most part, the people I associate with are open-minded. They're aware of who I am. I am not usually into activities, for the most part, where I would feel uncomfortable. And in general, I think for the most part the populace is aware of, there's crazy people everywhere in the world, and you're not supposed to generalize that upon every person within the group.
In terms of the extremist groups, as a Muslim, I hate that I always have to defend my religion when these things happen. In my opinion, I don't really think that these extremists are Muslim, and I don't think that they accurately represent Islam in even the most strict ways. So I just hate that people can't look past that and can't learn more about it. Doesn't take too much to learn more about it, whether it's just reading like an English translation of the Quran. And it still is kind of our duty to make sure that people who don't know about Islam can learn about it, but it's also not our responsibility to apologize for extremist groups.
I sometimes will feel uncomfortable with what goes on in America, just like everything you read. That's normal though. Like, you don't want to see like people that you share basically commonalities with in their technical religion, even though they don't follow it the way I believe they should.
My opinions about the groups is definitely not favorable. They definitely have ulterior motives. I think greed and other spoils that they gain from passing on this ideology onto others. People's opinions about Arabs, I think in general it's, the media doesn't help, but I think we as Arabs gotta quit trying to validate this point by going on the defensive. So I don't go out there trying to defend the groups that I belong to or anything like that. I think it's obvious that the terrorist organizations are extremists and that they're people that are on the fringes of society, and I think that's accepted within in the Muslim population, and that's accepted within all the other main religions and all other groups and countries of the world. So I have no favorable opinions about them, and I think they're doing themselves the damage mostly by relaying these horrific methods that they use and this ideology that they believe in. I think it's at the end it's going to be their own end because of that.